Okay, so having said this, the Yama Niyamas, the next step after Yama Niyamas, so 8 parts, right? We have done only 2, kind of touched on 2, Yama Niyama. The next one is Asana. Now Asana means postures, bodily postures. The most important posture in yoga, according to Patanjali, is Sthira Sukham Asanam, which means that posture in which you can sit for a length of time without discomfort is your asana. If you can do that only sitting on a chair, that's fine. But there are asanas where you can fold your legs and sit with your spine straight, because many things happen to the spine, and though your spine has to be kept straight. Spinal cord. So posture. So there are many postures. There are more than 108 asanas. You can't hope to practice all of them every day, but you can pick up a few which are suitable and don't cost too much trouble to you, and start practicing till you become an expert. Don't think you need to stand on your head 2 hours every day. Could cause a brain hemorrhage. So go slowly, carefully, start practicing one by one, little by little. So now why are these asanas? Are they just physical exercises? Yes, they are, because they are physical, but they have other effects. They are connected to the mind in some way, because the asanas are not merely physical exercises. You will not find people who do asanas with, muscles like muscle builders. They don't have that. But they're supple. The body is supple, and it can do a lot of bending which people generally can't do, and so on. And the spine is usually well sustained. Apart from that, asanas are meant to activate or touch on your ductless glands. You know, every human being has a system of ductless glands, which is, what's it called? Any other name for that? Endocrine system. Now, starting with the pituitary, the pineal, which is the commanding position here, and going down to the thyroid and so on, and adrenal glands, and so on and so forth. There are many. Now, what asanas do, apart from the physical stretching of the muscles and relaxing the muscles, is they massage these endocrine glands so that any maladjustment or malfunctioning of these glands is cleared. When this is cleared, then the body and mind become balanced. When the body and mind become balanced, then it's easy to meditate. You see? So it's very important. And when you do any posture in which your head is down, then there is more circulation of blood. Don't overdo it in the head. And that's one part which doesn't generally get much circulation, because we'll never bend our heads. In the olden days, there were houses with small doors. So at least you bend down to go in. Now they're too big. You go like this. You ask somebody to bend their heads. Why should I bend my head? I said, at least bend them so that you get some circulation. You know, all the namaskaras that we do, the bowing downs that we do as a spiritual practice, they're not only just out of respect, but they're also good for you. So anyway, yeah. The other adrenal gland, I can give you one more example before we leave the asanas, and I have some more things to say about this. The adrenal glands. You know, when you get angry, what happens? Adrenaline is pumped into the system. Are you a doctor? 2. So it's pumped into the system, and then you're angry. Blood circulation, the heartbeat increases, and so on. Now there is an asana. This is something you can experiment, called Matsyasana. In Matsyasana, you sit in Padmasana, which is difficult for most people, the Buddha posture, and then you slowly go backwards. You have to be very careful with this. You go backwards and then touch your head to the ground and hold the feet with your hands and leg. It is called Matsyasana. I don't want to demonstrate here. Matsyasana. Now, if you constantly do Matsyasana, I can bet, because it massages the muscles of the adrenal glands. And by constant practice, believe me, you can bring, if you are an angry person, you can bring your anger under control. But first you must understand that there is no point in getting angry. Theoretically, you need to understand that. There is no point. In fact, you go crazy for a while and you can't even think, and you do actions which you regret later. There was a great, in Karnataka, in India, there is a particular system called the Lingayats, and the founder was a great saint called Basaveshwara. He has written those small little beautiful vachanas, words of wisdom. One of them I really love is, he says, when you get angry, you're doing nothing to the other guy, you're setting fire to your own house. Your heartbeat increases, your lifespan decreases. Nothing happens to the other guy, you're destroying yourself. So, you understand what I'm trying to say. So, adrenal glands are beautifully massaged with Matsyasana. So, you'll very soon find in a month or two that you have some kind of, well, if you're from birth an angry person, it may reduce 50%, but at least that much. Okay. Then, the other important thing about asanas is, the body gets energy and also relaxes if you tense your muscles. You tense your muscles, and then when you let go and relax, then the energy rushes in. So in the asanas, you will find that there's always a tensing of muscles and then letting go. It may be this way or that way. You may be going backwards, you may be getting forward, but it's always that you tighten and then you do shavasana, when the entire body is relaxed. Then all the energy flows in. And you can't relax until you tense. If your mind is not agitated, you will not realize what peace is. Both sides of the same. So, if you say, I'm always peaceful, you have to check yourself. Maybe you're lethargic. So, a peaceful mind is an active mind also. It's not sleeping all the time. So this is some of the effects of asanas. So you can choose your own little few asanas with the help of somebody who knows and practice them daily. Then the next step, so we've done Yama Niyamas, is the Pranayama in the Yoga Sutras. Pranayama is not necessarily to do with your breath, it is to do with prana, energy, which is linked closely to your breath. So, from the point of view of meditation, the calmer and quieter your breath, the easier it's to go into meditation. Now the rishis, who are scientists in this particular field, watched themselves carefully and said that when your mind is agitated, your breath is agitated. When your mind is calm, your breath is calm. What happens when you're angry or agitated? You breathe hard and you feel like punching him on the nose. You know how it is. Heartbeat is increased. However, if you're listening to music that you love, beautiful music or chants, or suppose you love painting and you're painting, what happens? You're breathing, everything is quiet, right? So, the rishis said, if the state of mind can influence the breath, is it possible that the breath can influence the state of mind? And therefore they figured out various exercises and techniques by which the breath can be manipulated in different patterns and rhythms to adjust the patterns and rhythms of the mind. So finally we are dealing with the mind. So this is the science of pranayama. You know, the breath is so important, we hardly give any attention to it. Do we? You can live without food for some time, right? Sometime. Now they are going to serve food, but you can live without food for some time. You can also live without water for some time. For some time. You cannot live without breath for half a minute, unless you are a great yogi who doesn't breathe. I mean, you can't live without breath for half a minute. So you see how important it is. It's our most important nutrition, nourishment. But we hardly give any attention. From the time you're born, it's on like a machine, and it goes on, and when it stops, you know what happens. Rest in peace. So, if we can just give a little bit of respect and attention to our breath, which means be aware of your breath, which we are not normally aware of. The very fact that you are becoming aware of your breathing helps to calm down the breath. But there are many techniques of pranayama. We won't go into the details, but as you watch your breath, you'll see that the breath becomes slow and your mind becomes slow. You don't even have to control it in any way. So this is pranayama, the science of prana, the science of breath, how to adjust your breathing. And then after that comes something called pratyahara. No, pratyahara is the capacity that the yogi has. Yogi meaning anybody who is practicing yoga. It could be you and me. Don't have to think of a matted haired yogi. The capacity that the yogi has to switch on and switch off at any given time. It's usually translated in English as withdrawal of the senses, but I think it means, for my understanding, it means not only withdrawing from something, but also being able to do something, changing your mind from one to another without any conflict. That means a yogi is not one who meditates while he drives. You know the danger, right? Mm-hmm. To yourself and other poor fellows walking on the road. A yogi is one who meditates when he meditates and drives when he drives, with full attention. That full attention is meditation. Now I am going to tell you an oft-repeated story. I love this story. Maybe you haven't heard it from me, but Christine scores of times. You can edit it off if you don't want. So, this is about anybody knows a founder of Zen? Nowadays in India there is a great deal of interest in Zen because it is imported. Anything imported is great. So anyway, it's good. Zen is good. I'm not saying it's bad. There was the founder of Zen, was a great South Indian Buddhist monk from Tamil Nadu, whose name was Bodhidharma. Is that your colleague? Now, Bodhidharma was the one who took this particular brand of Buddhism into China, first into China. So he was also trained in the art of self-defense. So he was also the father of unarmed combat, which later on became karate. Actually the word karate means empty hand. Karate. Anyway, so Bodhidharma, when he was in China, he introduced a particular brand of Buddhism which laid more stress on meditation than reading and chanting and other things. So he called it Dhyana Buddhism. Dhyana. So when it went to China, Dhyan became Chan, natural shift in the language. And when Chan went to Japan, it became Zen. It's the same thing. So when Bodhidharma was in China, living on the top of a hill, don't know why they live on the top of a hill, but not easily accessible. So no questions. So when he was living on the top of the hill, two young men went looking for him. So they searched far and wide. In those days, the great teachers didn't have banners. You couldn't find them on Google. There were no PRs working, PROs working, nothing. They just lived silently. So with great difficulty, these two young men found Bodhidharma. They searched far and wide. They were very tired and clothes were torn and hungry, and they went up. As soon as they saw the master, they were overwhelmed. And the master was drinking his soup. It was his lunch time, so he was drinking his soup. So they went to him. They bowed low and said, "Sir, please teach us Zen. Teach us how to attain Satori." Satori is like Nirvana in Buddhism, Kaivalya in this Yoga Sutras and so on. Bodhidharma said, "I'm drinking my soup." I said, "What is this now? We're asking him such a serious question. And he says he's drinking, we can see it, he is drinking his soup, so what's the big deal?" So they waited. They asked him again, same answer. Third time they asked, he called somebody and said, "Give them their soup." So they ended up with two bowls, drinking their soup, and suddenly it occurred to them, what a silly thing to do. We came here looking for Zen and Satori, and here we are sipping soup. So they again asked, "Put down the bowls." And they said, "Zen." He said, "I'm drinking my soup." So they got very irritated. They said, "We are also drinking our soup." First time they replied. So the master turned to them and said, "Sorry." By the time he had finished his soup, "Sorry, you are not drinking your soup. You are drinking of soup and thinking of Zen. And I am drinking my soup, I'm drinking my soup, I'm drinking my soup, this is Zen." You know what it means? So this is pratyahara. The capacity of the yogi to sit and do what he is doing with complete attention, away from other things, withdraw. He knows where to turn the switch off and where to turn the switch on. Trained. So, this switching off and switching on is pratyahara. Now I might be talking to you. After 10 minutes I am switched off. I am doing something else. I am not thinking of any of you. So, pratyahara. Then after that, among the 8 angas, the 8 branches of Ashtanga Yoga, comes Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Now Dharana is, once one has acquired through pratyahara the capacity to fix your attention on one thing, one idea, one ideal, even one sound, to the exclusion of all others, without being distracted. This is Dharana. Not easy, but Patanjali says it comes through practice. So, the capacity to fix your mind, or the practice by which you can fix your mind on either one object or one ideal, or even one sound, or one image, it depends. There are various ways it can be done. And exclusion of everything else is called Dharana. Now when Dharana continues without distraction for a length of time, almost without effort, through practice, then it becomes Dhyana. And the result, it culminates in Samadhi. So what is Samadhi? Samadhi is when the person who is meditating is so absorbed in the meditation that there is no distinction between the meditator and the thing meditated upon. It all becomes one meditation. When there is absolutely no distraction, it is still and quiet, when the only thing is that, there is nothing else. Even I forget that I am there. This is Samadhi. Now there are different forms of Samadhi. It starts from, because the mind has different layers. As slowly you begin to explore the inner layers till you come to the it is the essence or source of thought, which is the spark of the all-pervading Supreme Being, which is in all of us. Till we understand that, we need to carry on. This is yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, branched yoga. Now, this can also be applied in daily life. If you can do whatever you're doing, but then you need to like what you're doing. Very often what happens is we do things which we don't like, then it's bread and butter. But when you do things you really like to do, even though the bread and butter may be a little less, but the inner satisfaction is more, and if you learn how to fix your attention on that, and then you're already practicing yoga. One pointed attention. Believe me, everything improves. Your mind becomes clearer. What you apply your mind to usually works well. And if it fails, you're not bothered. You move forward to the next. This, I thought, should be today's subject, because Shaila is now is the guru, Yoga here. There's a studio where she practices and teaches, I think. So, that's it. Thank you. I don't want to ramble on and on, spoil your evenings, but I think it's sufficient for the day. There's something called the New Testament. Matthew, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.